Hi there, sixth graders. This is World History, Chapter 14, one of my favorites about medieval Europe. Please turn to page 392. That's where I will be starting Section 1, Lesson 1, Geography of Europe. First, we'll preview. Focus on the main idea. The landforms and climate of Europe affect the way Europeans live. We have a few places. You've heard of some of these. Europe, Ural Mountains, North European Plain, and three rivers, Volga, Danube, Rhine. You are there. You're sitting in a room full of desks. Your fingers are cramped. It's winter, so the day is short and cold. Father Abbot fears a fire, so there is no source of heat or light in the room. You and each of the other scribes are copying a text. You write one letter, one word, one line at a time. Two fingers hold the pen, but the whole body toils. You've been copying the same text onto paper for weeks. The last book you copied was an account of ancient Rome. When you finish a chapter, your copy is proofread. Corrections will be made. Titles will be added. Then special pages are sent to an illustrator who will supply any needed illustrations or art. Finally, the book will be bound. You look out the window for a moment to rest your eyes. The landscape of rolling hills and blowing grass is peaceful. This is Europe, your homeland. Let's learn a little bit about the geography of Europe. Europe is the second smallest continent on Earth and extends from the Arctic Ocean in the north to the Mediterranean Sea on the south. Its western boundary is the Atlantic Ocean. In the east, the Ural Mountains separate Europe from Asia. The Urals are old, low mountains. Europe has four major land regions: the Northwest Mountains, the North European Plain, the Central Uplands, and the Alpine Mountain System. The thin soil and steep slopes of the Northwest Mountain region make it poor for farming. The North European Plain is a part of the Great European Plain, which covers a vast expanse of Europe, including part of southeastern England. The flat and rolling land includes some of the world's most fertile farmland. The Central Uplands includes low mountains, high plateaus, and forests throughout the central region of Europe. Much of this land is rocky, but some is suitable for farming. The Alpine Mountain System includes several mountain chains, such as the Alps and the Carpathian Mountains. Lower mountain slopes and wide valleys provide good farmland. Heavy forests cover much of the higher slopes. Meadows above the timberline, or where the trees stopped growing, are used as pasture land. Europe's river system. The many rivers of Europe serve as a major transportation route. The Volga is Europe's longest river. It flows through Russia to the Caspian Sea. Canals link the Volga with the Arctic Ocean, the Baltic Sea, and the Don River. The Danube River is Europe's second longest river. It is the main water route in the south-central part of the continent. The Rhine River is the backbone of the busiest inland system of waterways in the western part of Europe. The Rhine flows from the Alps through western Germany and the Netherlands to the North Sea. Europe generally has milder weather than parts of Asia and North America at the same latitude. Europe's mild climate is caused by winds, warmed by the Gulf Stream. The Gulf Stream is a powerful ocean current. It carries warm water from the Gulf of Mexico to the western coast of Europe. The winds affect most of the continent because no mountain barrier is large enough to block them. For more than 2,000 years, European traders have transported goods on the waterways of Europe. Farmers use the power of flowing water to turn water wheels to grind grain. Many cities emerged alongside rivers, where their economies thrived. Europeans began to fish in the North Atlantic. Fishing grew to become an important part of Europe's economy. So, the review question there: how does the Gulf Stream affect Europe's climate? Well, it carries that warm water from the Gulf of Mexico over to the western course of Europe, and that's what gives Europe its mild climate. Climate and landforms. During the early Middle Ages, Europeans began to clear the land to farm. This process of cutting down forests to clear the land is called deforestation. Climate and landforms affected how and where the people chose to farm crops. There are different climates across the continent of Europe. However, most of Europe has a temperate or mild climate. As you read earlier, the North European plain is the most fertile farmland in Europe. Wheat and other grains are grown on this plain. Along the Atlantic coast, winters are mild and summers are cool. This type of climate is good for farming. Crops that are grown in this area include potatoes, cabbage, and onions. In southern Europe, the climate region is Mediterranean. As you might remember from Unit 3, this climate region has hot, dry summers and mild, rainy winters. The ancient Greeks used irrigation to farm. Over time, these lands were overused and farming declined in this region. In the Northwest mountain region, the climate varies. At higher elevations, the climate is cooler. At the lower elevations, people can cultivate crops because the climate is more moderate. However, many people of these regions also herd animals and cut timber. Just like Europe's climate, Europeans are diverse in their cultures and the languages they speak. In this chapter, you will learn about how these peoples interacted with each other and with the people from other lands. And so we have a review question there. How does location affect people who live and work in the major climate regions of Europe? Well, depending upon where they live, it's either colder, milder, warmer. So that's definitely going to have an impact on what kind of crops they grow, if they're able to grow crops, or if it is too cold. If they can't cultivate crops, maybe they can do herding instead or cut timber. Thanks for listening.